is kind of a little bit different thing that I'm doing this time. So it's a live show, but it's kind of like you're just hanging out with me. And the idea here is, well, I don't really get a chance to do this too often. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to work on the bike. I'm going to try to check in with you guys as I'm going along. If you have any questions, let me know. Things happen during a live show, like dropping stuff. You know, I might wander off and have to go get a tool or something like that. I think I pretty much got everything sorted out over here. So let's hang out and work on a motorcycle together. All right, so what am I doing? Well, I am installing a zero gravity windscreen on Smokey, the GSXR 750. I am also going to be installing these New Rage mirror block-offs, the same ones that are on that one right over there. So, not really a whole lot going on. Bringing you guys along for the ride again, because I haven't done one of these types of videos before. And I'll do a how-to video, right? But you don't really get to see what happens as I'm making that how-to video. So that's kind of why I'm doing this too. And what I'm doing right now is I've got a 10 millimeter little stubby guy right here, and I'm just loosening up the mirrors on this bike. There are two nuts that hold this thing onto, or hold each of these mirrors onto the fairing stay. So I'm just gonna get these loose, get them to where I can just basically twist them with my fingers. That way when it comes time to pull this whole thing apart, I will be just a little bit ahead of the game. So we're getting this one knocked out eventually. All right, good enough. So we're gonna get this along with a couple other things that we're going to be doing on this install. Again, just kind of cruising along here. There's a little cover on the gauge cluster that you've got to take off in this bowl. It's a brand new bike. It's over here. It's kind of squeaking along over here. Where's my tubby so I can put on my parts in my tubby. All right. See if we got anybody in. Got a couple of folks in already. So as I'm doing this, I guess I could give some tips and tricks along the way. On a GSXR 750, these screws, they're plastic. So just using the end, the little screwdriver sets, you can get these little Phillips head guys. Anyway, using that, by the way, top tip, these aren't very tight, by the way, but the longer screws go in these lower portions of the windscreen. So a lot of times, it's really hard to tell, but there are two different sizes for the screws that go on this windscreen. And the longer ones go where you kind of sort of can't see them. But you do have to be kind of careful because they're made out of plastic, they're soft plastic, and you can gack these things pretty easily. Ask me how I knew. Just kind of trucking through this. This is one of those types of jobs where it usually doesn't take too long to knock out one of these projects, but there's always a step, right? There's always that one step that turns out to be a real pain in the butt. And that step for this project is when you go to take the windscreen out, the little rubber, what do you call them? Keepers, little rubber nuts. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, when those get stuck down into here, that is crazy common to see these bikes with no screws in the lower portion of the fairing where the windscreen goes in. Hopefully we can get this one pulled apart. We got these pretty loose. I'm going to try to do this without gacking anything up. I'm going to try to do this, get this nice and loose. There we go. The looser you get all of this, the easier that whole thing will come out. So that's what we're doing. But you don't want to loosen it up all the way because you don't want to have your mirror just kind of flopping around. You just want to get it loose enough to where it moves around a little bit like that. I'm going to pull out the nuts now. This one of them is just, read that one, it just kind of binds up a little bit for seemingly no reason. That's what we are living through right now. All right. That should be enough to where I can pull this, kind of bend that back, bend you back. There we go. So yeah, these little dudes right here, super common to see those things down like in some mystery area down here. Let's see, we've got somebody asking a question. TJ's asking, does the mirror block-offs have signals in them still? Yes, they do. That is what they look like. They're LED, and you want to see what one of those looks like while it's blinking. I will be very happy to show you over here. There you go. You can see that? Anyway, yes, the mirror block-offs do have the blinkers in them. Now, one thing that is missing out of this project is the relay. The relay never made it in, so I do need to get that eventually. But what we're going to do now is we're going to take our little rubber nuts. I'm going to take those off of here. Eventually, here we go. And we are going to put these on our new windscreen. By the way, it's going to be the same windscreen that's on that bike. It's just that I have taken the stickers off of them, or off of it, mainly because I wanted this bike to have a little bit cleaner look to it. So there's your factory windscreen. Get these guys installed. One thing I would certainly recommend, wearing gloves during this. The block-offs are from New Rage Cycles. New Rage, looking for New Rage. Now, they're New Rage Cycles. I think I got these from Sport Bike Track Gear. Sport Bike Track Gear normally has a lot of New Rage stuff in stock. They are not sponsoring me, but since I get enough stuff from them, I don't know, New Rage, are you watching? Maybe you can sponsor. Anyway, this is becoming annoying. I'm trying to get this little rubber nut in here. May have to pull these gloves off. Let's see. There we go. These can be a little bit persnickety when you're installing them. If you get brand new ones, a lot of times they will pop right in like that. But we don't have brand new ones. Let's see if we can get this one to do it. Yep, that one did pop in. Where'd they go? Oh. Let's see if we can get lucky with these. These are a little bit compressed. I don't think we're going to get lucky with these. The more you get them that are a bit more compressed like that, it's going to be tougher to get them to pop in usually. So you might have to squeeze them in from the back. Where will it go? There it goes. This one should pop right in. There we go. All righty. So we've got our rubber nuts installed on the windscreen. I am going to have to probably do a little buffing on this one. I had, you can't see it on camera, but I use a little gooby on this to get the adhesive that well, you can see on that one, where it says zero gravity, to get that adhesive off of there. And it kind of, I don't know, it didn't really mess up the plastic, but kind of hazed it up a little bit. So I may need to bust out the machine polisher at some point once I get this all squared away. All right, so where were we? Oh yeah. Next, we got to remove the gauge cluster. And this thing, really, nothing to it. I almost feel like you're going to break something removing it, but it just pops in there. So which means it doesn't really want to pop out. Come on, kid. Hang on. Some of these are easier to get out than others. It's got the little male-female grommets. Let's see. Multiple tools in play. There we go. There we go. All right, so scooting that out of the way. And the reason why you're removing your instrument cluster is to gain access to right back in here where the connectors are to the blinkers. So what we're going to do is we go ahead. Now we're going to go ahead and loosen up the mirrors. Eventually, we're going to loosen up the mirrors. He's about to make a liar out of me. Okay. What I'll try to do is keep it attached for as long as I can, because these things can get a little bit sharp. We're going to disconnect this gray connector, which is the left-hand side connector. And you do it by lifting up on the tab. Don't press it, you lift up on the tab. Okay. There we go. There's one. All right, now then, cruise over here and get our before I use this, and cutting something not. It's one of those use the right tool for the job kind of situations. All right. And which one is which? I always get these backwards. This one, just come over here and take a look. Yeah, that's the right one. All right, let's go ahead and get that cleaned up. We don't want to leave anything dirty. Funny is this bike, I have seen, this is no kidding, I've seen bikes on the showroom floor that were dirtier than this bike. This bike is clean. Oh, okay, so if you're thinking about going this route and going with this kit, one thing you've got to know is these holes, they're kind of big. You'll be mistaken to think that the nut back here is part of what holds this top assembly together. That's not it. That's the nut that you're going to use to tighten the thing down. It has these little backing plates that the nut bolts on, or that the nut presses up against. But you will need your trusty 3mm. And these are 8 millimeters, by the way. So bust out the 3 and the 8. There we go. You got to take the nut off of here. I don't know why the bolts are this long. I don't know. You know, I should be using, I've got somewhere around here, this little stubby electric wrench that would go great right now with this. Hang on. Hang on a second. It's funny, is by the time I get this wrench, find the attachment for it, get it all put together, I probably could have had the job done. Which is usually how that works. Or I just can't find what I'm looking for. All right, well, we thought we had a cheat code in play, and we don't. So we're just going to go ahead and get this removed. Won't take as much time. There we go. These are, incidentally, these are nylock nuts that we're playing around with over here. So this one off of here. This is not really that hard of a job to do. Clearly, I mean, we're not getting dirty. Main thing though is it can be like a little fidgety. Like you think it's going to be like a 5-minute thing. You just swap the stuff out and you're done. And I mean, if in a perfect world, maybe, but usually for me, something always kind of gets weird. So, all right. Let's go ahead and run our cable. Taking the bolts out of this thing, make it a little easier to handle. And this is kind of the goofy part where, like, am I doing this the right way? And I have done this before. And don't be afraid if you're working on one of these things to, you know, put a little oomph on the plastic. You're not really going to hurt anything, I don't think. Shouldn't, anyway. There we go. All right, now we're going to route this down behind the dash. Behind where the cluster goes. Here we go. There we go. Go ahead and make the connection. These are, by the way, these things are plug and play. Where'd I go? Where'd I go with the other one? Let's put the damn thing down. Oh, here it is. These are going to use the factory connectors. So yeah, they're plug and play units. Speaking of which, we're not done, but it's always good. Ask me how I know this. Always check your work as you go. There we go. Is that the same as that one? Hang on a second. Hang on. Yeah, that's the same. What I'm looking at is where is it really blinking over here? Anyway, yeah, it's the same. Crazy. All right, so going to get our cables kind of just off to the side. I'm not going to zip tie them down just yet. What I'm doing is I'm just kind of sorting through what I've got here. I'm going to go ahead and get this attached. using, where'd they go? Little backing plate dudes. There we go. All right. Trucking right along here, guys. Now, I know I'm going to hear somebody, I say here, somebody's going to chime in and say, hey, why are you putting mirror block-offs on your bike? Well, I'll tell you why. One of the issues that I have with mirrors, and I've said this on other live shows, but if you've never heard me ramble incoherently on about this, the reason why I don't run mirrors is because you get a bit of a false sense of security with them. And if I ride at night, I don't like having, cars blasting my eyeballs, right? With their headlights. Oh, what I'm doing is I didn't mention this. If you're getting this kit, this is a part of the install that can kind of mess with your head a little bit. These backing plates, I don't even know. I think I put these, I put the rounded side to the outside, but I want to show you guys, well, I was just kind of showing you on accident. What you do is you screw the bolt into this. You don't just push it in. And the very first time I ever did a set of these, that was one of the weird things that kind of tripped me up a little bit. So for your backing plate, just remember that, and I'll show you guys again, for you guys that may be new in here. This is the right side. These bolts have to come off. And the reason why they come off is because this is the bolt that holds it onto the bike. These nuts, the nuts on here have to come off. These are the nuts that hold it onto the bolt that holds it onto the bike. They are not part of this assembly, so you're not missing or you haven't lost any hardware on this. By the way, this is a 3 millimeter that I'm using. But, the point that I was getting to is when you put this on, these don't just push through, right? They don't just pop in. You do need to screw them in. And you don't have to put a whole lot of on it. You don't have to do that at all. Just barely twist it on until it gets a little bit snug, and then you're going to run your nut onto it. So we're going to go ahead and get the nuts on here. You know what? Hold that thought. I got ahead of myself. While I'm here, and I haven't gone too far, keep all of this kind of loose. And the reason why I want to keep this all kind of loose is once I get the mirror block-offs on, I'm going to have to put the windscreen on, and these have got to be loose to put the windscreen on. So I caught myself getting ahead of myself a little bit. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and just barely, these are nylocks, so I can't really get them on there too tight, obviously. Go ahead and get this on here. All right, let's get this other mirror off of here. I'm going to come in here, we're going to reach in and disconnect our connector. Oh, while we're here, let me just show you what's going on under here. I'm over here yanking this stuff around. Can y'all see that? Anybody getting dizzy enough? There you go. That's what's going on. And we've got those connectors are right here. That's why we had to disconnect, or at least just move out of the way our gauge cluster. So hopefully that helps. I know a lot of times, when I'm working on stuff, I'm going, what is he doing? What is he talking about? I've got a great view of this. So, all right. Now the black connector is for the right. And again, the gray connector is for the left. I like to do these one side at a time. I'm going to use this flat head to pry up on the connector. I'm kind of at an odd angle here. But you just lift up on that tongue and it pops right out. Nothing to it. Easy peasy. Oh, what's up with this nut? This first nut on here is rather interesting with its absolute refusal to come off of here. So, time to employ a 10mm. So, tools that you'll need: 10mm, 8mm. A flathead screwdriver will come in real handy. One other thing, you will not be reusing any of the factory hardware or any of that. And there's no need to wire in anything because, again, it's using the factory connectors. Very much a plug and play deal. Again, the most annoying or toughest or whatever part of this whole thing is it's really nothing more than just the routing of the cables through the fairings. But there you go. Got a mirror off of there. So, second verse, same as the first. So let's go ahead and get our 3mm, get our, not a 10mm, where do we put our 8mm? Where'd that son of a bitch go? Hang on. Just like you guys, I mean, I'm right in the middle of doing this, and I'm going, where the hell did I put the thing that I literally, oh, here it is. Rolled a little bit down the table here. Here we go. I got this little 1/4-inch drive, little flexi 1/4-inch drive from Harbor Freight. And when I saw it, it's got this little hex thing on the end where you can put your, like your attachment. You get the screwdriver kits and stuff like that. You can put the little hex side in there, right? I think I paid like $8 for it or something like that. This is one of the most indispensable little tools I've ever bought. So chances are, if I'm working on something, I will have needed a use for that little gizmo. All right, so we're just getting the bolts removed. And again, guys, don't forget, this bolt does have to come off of there. That is your bolt. And again, I don't mind telling you guys this. The first time I ever did this, I thought for sure that I had, been shorted, some kind of a, hardware kit or something, And it didn't quite work out like that. I figured it out. I felt like such a dummy. But it's easy to screw that up though, because the size of that nut is almost the exact size as the holes that are in the fairing. So, I suppose you could be forgiven for not quite getting that sorted out exactly the way it should have been. So before I go do the other side, I just want to show you guys that backing plate thing again. Just remember that this does not push through. It doesn't go boop. It doesn't do that. You will have to thread that, okay? I don't know why it's like that. This isn't really integral to you're not using this as the initial thing that you torque down and then you're torquing down the nut on that, because it's just a little bit of twist and it'll kind of twist right through that, I guess. Is that the right way to say that? Anyway, So I don't know why that is. There we go. And again, we're lifting up, going into the middle hole. We're going to start threading this guy in. Again, don't be afraid to move the plastic around. Just try not to beat up the part that you're working on. All right, come on, you thing. Oh, the other thing is a lot of times it's easier to go the opposite direction that you're trying to go because you've got more room in that direction. I'm going to go ahead and pull this through. And look at that. Look at that. Hold on. Go ahead and clean that up just a little bit. All right. I'll come back and I'll detail this thing. So I took this bike out the other day. And well, the other day was yesterday. And this thing is a little monster. You know, I've been working on, it's out of the shot. Hang on. I'll drag her into view because I don't want this girl to be, I don't want this star of the show to not be part of the show. You see that one yet? I don't know if you can see it. There we go. Close enough. Anyway, I have been spending so much time with that thing, trying to get the suspension really well sorted out. You know, it's kind of funny. You know, you get to working on these things. How do I put this politely? Okay, so it's easy to get to working on something and totally overthink or outthink yourself. You know, just mind F yourself, so to speak. And that's kind of what I did a little bit with the suspension on the 1000. I kind of did, I'll admit it. And get in there. There we go. Not in a bad way, but you always want it to be the best, you know, the best performance, all that, right? And there you go. You hear that click? That's a good noise. That's a good noise. That's a good noise. It's a very good noise. All right, let's go get a zip tie because I can't do any job, by the way, without employing a zip tie. So hold that thought. Chat amongst yourselves, my boys. Hold, please. Hold, please. All right. Yeah, I can't do a job at all without the zip tie. Oh, so yeah, part of the live show, like some of the stuff, like some of the tools, right? I'll talk about that. These little snippers right here. These were my dad's snippers. The crazy thing is the blue that's on here is a color Southwestern Bell blue. And the funny thing is I know all that because my dad, you know, was basically he's an engineer for them. Anyway, part of what he would do when he would do troubleshooting, go in and mess with all the electricals. Anyway, I remember these as a kid, and these things are freaking ancient. And look at them, just working. So, all right, what am I gonna do with this? Oh, one thing, if you set tools down on anything, put something down underneath it. I know it sounds like it's a real anal thing, because it is, but what you don't want to do is you don't want to get into the habit of just setting something down and then walking away from it, because you're going to forget where you put your thing. So it's not just a good habit so that you don't scratch anything, but it makes it stand out. Because Lord knows I need all the help I can get, especially when it comes to putting together a zip tie, because I just screwed that up. That is a casualty of war. Okay, let's try that again. realistically, do you have to come in here and zip tie this? Probably not, but we're going to do it anyway, just to keep sure, just to make sure that we keep everything nice and tidy. There we go. There we go. Kind of go. Do we go? Are we going? Close enough. All right, that's going to have to work. All right, there we go. So we are now going to check our work. And again, we are still waiting on we're still waiting on a flasher to show up. I think it's going to be around like Monday, maybe. I'm thinking Monday. Oh, is that the wrong key? Got all these GSXRs. There we go. Yep, there we go. Can y'all see that flashing? Yeah, you can see it flashing. All right. So let's go ahead and get our backing plate, which remember I don't know if it matters which way it goes, just because I put my backing plate with the arch to the outside. And again, it does screw in, but you're not like torquing it down or anything. And honestly, I don't think there's really a reason for it, to have to screw in. I think it has more to do with just the size. It's more of a coincidence than anything else, I bet you. All right, so we got these all on kind of loose, right? We can now make sure there's nothing in the way. Looks like everything's out of the way. You can go ahead and reinstall our gauge cluster. Oh, I'll bring you guys along here. I'll show you what I'm looking at. I don't know if this is going to come up on camera. Maybe it will. So the gauge cluster, there's just a couple of male, I don't even know if that's coming up because I can't see. Okay, so there's 2 females and 2 males on the, 2 females on the dash, 2 males on the cluster. Just pop that in. Ooh. But again, it can be a little bit challenging to get them out. But it's crazy easy to get it back in. Oh, and this bolt, I don't know what it is. This bolt right here, this thing that holds the gauge cluster. This gauge cluster, you and I could play catch with this thing like across a football field, right? I don't know why. You got a little bit of a heavy duty bolt, but I'm not surprised. It's GSXR stuff, right? So anyway, get this thing reinstalled. Yeah, GSXR. So if it's worth building, it's worth overbuilding, right? Does it have to squeak? All right. I don't know what else you would put in there, like why there would be such a big, why there would be such a big bolt. Okay, so you want to talk about unnecessarily large hardware. That's why she married me. No, the GSXR 1000, the bolts that hold, so when I did one of the install video, I meant to show this. I don't think I did. The bolt that holds the bar ends on that thing is bigger and more robust. It uses a 10 millimeter hex than some of the hardware that is on car suspension. So anyway, I thought that was funny because of course I thought it was funny. Okay. So now this is actually the hardest part of this entire job. So, and there's no trick to it. There's no way to make this easier. There's no way to get it right. So the idea is you've got to pull the plastic back quite a bit to where you can clear your rubber nuts. And I will be shocked if this goes together right the first time, because there's a right way to do this, and then there's this way to do this. And if you get one side started, a lot of times you can just kind of wedge it in. Keep pressing forward. Give me my hand back, thank you. But you have to make sure that the little rubber nut doesn't get pulled off when you're scooting your fairing, or rather when you're scooting your windscreen down. So we've got that side. We had that side. I think we just lost it. No, we didn't. We still got it. Okay. Ah. There we go. I think that got it. Did it get it? I think it did. Hey! Hey! Maybe? Maybe? Maybe, hey? Maybe? Hey, look at that. Okay, it looks like we nailed it. Oh, and don't forget your screws are plastic, so don't get all crazy. And they don't have to be super tight either. Also, the long screws go in the front two, the front two, pairs, and then your shorter screw goes in the back. So I think we got it. I'm going to be pretty surprised if this actually works out, because I never, and I mean ever, never, ever, ever get this right on the first try. Ever. Never. It always takes me, I mean, 3, 4, 5 times before I get it right. So, get it there. These are the toughest ones. If you get the front ones to where they'll mate up, you're kind of home free at that point. And it looks like we're getting close to that point. Crazy. Okay, well, hey, we ain't done with it yet, but kind of surprised. I'm pretty stoked. Oh, and the middle ones, the reason why we didn't have to put the nuts in the middle is because those stay affixed to the bike. Huh. Kind of wondering if that's all the way down. Hang on, let me go get a flashlight, because I think this might be a little bit too good to be true. I mean, it's in there. Okay, well. All right, let's go. Good, so far so good, right? There we go. He's being a little bit annoyed with us. They're a pretty exacting fit here. And again, I'm not trying to put too much on these screws in terms of pressure, because you can gack these up pretty easily. They're all bendy and flexibly and everything, so. There we go. And last but not, oh, and what I'm also doing is I'm kind of keeping everything a little bit loose as I go. No need to tighten everything down until you are, well, ready to tighten everything down. All right. I think I have some extras of these nuts. I may need to put an extra order in for some more. But these will get it going for right now. These are always gacked up, by the way. It's almost impossible to install these without some level of jacked upness. Put the wrong one in here. There we go. There we go. Finally. Holy cow. All right, do as I say, not as I do, okay? Normally I'd say don't do this, but we're gonna go ahead and knock this out. All right, there we go. That's better. Okay, now we can line up our mirror block-offs. Go ahead and run these down. Don't forget those backer plates are still behind here, and we're just going to kind of snug this into their own little backer plate. It does kind of help to hold it in place. I don't remember, God, it's been forever since I read the instructions on one of these, but I don't remember it ever saying that, you know, that was the feature of these things, was to screw it into that backer plate. I don't remember that being the case. Might have been. There we go. And again, as we're running these home into that backer plate that I was showing you, the idea isn't really to get it super tight, because it'll just do what it just did there. It'll just kind of pop a thread, you know, it just kind of pops the thread right out of the hole. So basically it's like a coincidence that it does what it does. In terms of being able to screw into the backer plate as opposed to just pressing through. Although I will say that if you think about it, it's actually pretty smart how they did it, because we'll mess up here on that one little blinker. If they did it the other way, that backer plate would just flop right off of there. So we'd rather have it like this. I think so. kind of pressing the blinker up against the fairing with my thumb. Since this is just a little ratcheter, we can use the top part to make the bottom part ratchet. Maybe, there, come on. There we go. I have done an install video on the, I should say for the flasher. You know, you got to get a relay flasher for this, or else it's just going to be that crazy frantic flashing that they do. And that is from TST Industries, by the way. They make some really cool stuff. You know, a lot of companies that are out there, they're not really, I'm not going to say innovating or whatever, but you know, there's always some kind of like a support product that you need, like a flasher or that could be anything, honestly. And they sell that stuff. They make it. All right. And you're not putting it, see what I'm doing here? You're not really making it crazy tight. Just basically finger tight on there. And it's viola. Ta-da. Let's go ahead and get this sticker off of here. And that's it. Looks nice. I think it looks a lot better. Got the block offs on. Everything looking good. Show you this thing. There we go. Get this over here. Is that working? There we go. All right. Maybe that'll work. Something like that. Okay. So I like it. I think the matte looks nice. This bike's got a lot of black in it, so the matte looks nice as a as a complement to the rest of the bike. The main thing is that we don't have to worry about them dumb mirrors anymore. Oh, you can't see anything. There you go. Ta-da! So there you go, guys. Oh, let me get this thing where you can see it. Y'all see that? That is kind of busy looking, isn't it? Maybe that'll be better. Maybe that will be better. There we go. So, job done. We got the screen on. We've got the mirror block offs. Yeah, I think that's a lot better. So there you go, guys. Make sure I didn't miss any comments from you guys while I was doing that. All right, let's see. Dale saying safety wire. TJ's asking, are you doing a speedo healer as well? So, TJ, be on the lookout tomorrow because, hold please, tomorrow morning this video will be going out. But to answer your question, yes, you will be seeing me install that right there. That's the speedo healer already installed. Let's see if you can see it from the back over here. There we go. And you will see it light up when I first kick the bike on. There you go. There you go. So yes, be on the lookout because that how-to video will be coming your way tomorrow morning. Let's see. So there you go, guys. Oh, it's saying no mirrors and tail tidy look best anyways. Yes, they do. Marco's asking, Brian, do you need an LED flasher for the block offs? Yes. Well, you need yes, you do need a flasher specific to LEDs. Check back in with you guys. Zero gravity windscreen, good for the track? Yes, very good for the track. Deal saying I had a zero gravity windscreen on an R3 and it melted my dash. Yeah, it was medium smoke Mark 1, made a cigarette burn on the Speedo housing. That can happen. If you leave your bike out in the sun for too long with certain screens, the parabolic effect can cook your stuff. Oh, TJ is saying, looking forward to it. Yes, it is a full install. And guys, so it's actually, TJ, it's because of that install video that I'm doing this live video. So check this out. The things got a little, I didn't even cut. I did some cutting, but things didn't quite go as planned. They went as planned, but they went as they normally would go, right? So anyway, it's a fun video. It's a very easy video. I show you how to route your wire, where the connectors are, the part numbers, everything that you need is going to be in that video. As the only thing that I don't have, and I couldn't get because of reasons, but was the programming of the Speedo healer. And there is an app for that. And excuse me, you'll use the app. It's super crazy easy to follow. Just do what the app tells you to do for your exact specific combination. It'll populate like a flow chart, and it'll tell you exactly how to set your Speedo healer. But I can kind of walk you through it a little bit. Well, no, I can't because my hand will be in the way. The whole reason why I really couldn't is because when I tried to video it, I mean, it was nothing but my hand. You couldn't really see anything, but it involves pressing a couple of the buttons, dashes, the letter L, and then you hit select, make sure it says 0, select again, insert the first number it tells you, hit select, the next number, select, and you're done. It's super, super, super easy. So, but with that, guys, I'm going to go ahead and button this thing up. Thanks for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. Normal live shows as they normally come about, but I wanted to bring you guys along for this install. Thought it would be cool. I thought about doing a regular install video, but there's really no fun way to do that with something like this. So I'd rather hang out with you guys and knock it out that way. But with that, I got to wrap it up. Listen, get out there and do something cool for somebody. Chances are they need it way more than you know. And yeah, with that, that's a wrap. Y'all take it easy.